Hey everyone, it's Rachel. So I'm actually currently in the middle of filming a different video, but I honestly needed a little bit of a break because my fingers are hurting and I think if I pushed it too much more I might be at risk of injuring myself and that's not good. So I thought I would take a break and change the strings on this guitar. So I guess to change the strings, first we need some strings. So I have my strings over here. I have some Elixir NanoWeb 9-46s that I will be putting on this guitar. I've been using these Elixir strings for a while now, but I also have used the Dario in the past and I kind of like both of them. But I've been enjoying the coated feel of the Elixirs recently, and on this guitar I always use 9-46, which is kind of a hybrid between two different string sizes, and on my other floating bridge guitar I'll just use 9-42s. I like using these hybrid 9-46s on this guitar because sometimes I will down tune it into D standard, and having a little bit extra tension on the lower strings helps. But I like having 9s in general and having the higher strings be easy to bend, so yeah, that's why I prefer this hybrid string set, and I've been using 9-46s for a really long time, probably at least 2 years. But before I can put these strings on, I need to take the current strings off. The current strings on the guitar are the same, they're also Elixir strings, and they've been on there for a long time. The coated strings last for a really long time, but they're fraying a bit now, and I think it's time for a change. So let's just take off these strings. It's pretty easy, we just need to detune them a bit so that they're looser, and then just cut them off with these string cutter things. These are pretty useful. I've had these for a long time as well. This guitar has locking tuners, which is super nice as it makes the restringing process very painless and very quick compared to other guitars. You just have to put it in and then tighten it. So right now I'm just loosening the strings and we'll just cut them off and then we'll put the new strings on. Nice and detuned. And now I can kind of take off the locking part right here. So there's locking tuners on the back, so you just kind of unscrew them, which they're holding the strings in place. And now the strings will pop out and we can cut them out. I usually just cut them kind of halfway up and then pull them out like this. Okay, got these. They fell onto the floor. That always happens after string changes. I just have a floor full of strings that aren't meant to be there. Some strings, these are just going on the floor. I will pick them up eventually, I promise. And we can just pop out the strings up here. Okay, so now we have a stringless guitar. Pretty exciting progress on our string changing. And now that I'm looking at the frets, one thing I actually will do before I put on the new strings is I will use some really fine sandpaper to clean off and polish the frets. I don't do this every time I change the strings on my guitar, but it's nice to get the frets looking all polished, and I'll just use this paper here that I got in a fret polishing kit. I'll have it linked in the description, and you can kind of just go through and remove some of the kind of weird metal staining things that are happening on the frets. I think the kit actually originally came with a piece of paper to kind of block you from rubbing it against the fretboard itself, so you only get on the frets, but I don't know where that is, so I'm just going to be careful and only touch the frets with this paper. But I think you'd have to push pretty hard to do much damage on the fretboard. Now this doesn't really remove everything on the frets, but it does a pretty good job, and it's pretty satisfying because once you remove some stuff from the frets, you can see the black marks on the piece of paper to let you know that you're doing something. Now that I'm doing this on camera, I am wondering if I should be putting something over my fretboard, but I'm basically only putting pressure on the frets and it's not really touching the fretboard, but maybe don't follow my direction on this. Maybe put some paper over the guitar, over the fretboard, so that you definitely don't do anything to it, but I'm just gonna keep doing this for now. But next time, maybe some paper. Okay, looking a lot more clean now, a lot more shiny than it was before. So now let's actually just wipe down the fretboard with a microfiber cloth, and then we'll get into putting the strings on. Quite the process. So now I'm just taking this microfiber cloth and just kind of running it along the fretboard to get off any gunk. It looks pretty clean, but it doesn't hurt to clean it off. It's a lot easier to do this while the strings are still off of the guitar. And this fretboard is bird's eye maple, so it doesn't really need any liquid or oil or anything like that to clean it off. Just using this cloth has been working fine for me so far. Also just dust in between the pickups while there's no strings, because that is always a pain trying to clean it off before videos when I have strings on. Okay, so the guitar is cleaned up and ready for its new strings. This is already turning out to be kind of a long vlog for just changing strings on a hardtail guitar, so I guess watch out if I ever decide to make a vlog about changing the strings on my floating bridge guitar. Finally, the moment of truth, opening up the new pack of guitar strings. Here we go. I usually just go low to high string for no real reason. I don't think it really matters too much on this guitar. On the floating bridge though, it's a bit different. I usually go about 1 by 1 and leave the old strings on if I can to keep the bridge in balance, but this one is a lot simpler. Now if you don't have locking tuners, you should definitely consider getting them because it makes everything so much easier. You can just kind of put the string through like this, get it in place, and then just kind of tug it there, and then just tighten the lock on the back of the tuning head, and yeah, it's in place. And that was that. No fiddling around with it, no turning the pegs. All you have to do is get it in place and lock it in, and it makes this process go a lot faster. So I'm just going to tune it up a bit, but I will get it all the way in tune later. I usually just leave the extra string on for now and try not to poke myself in the eye with it because that would be bad, and I'll cut them off at the end, but just in case anything goes wrong, I just like leaving the strings full length until the end. So let's just get the next strings on. I don't think I've ever talked during a string change before, so this is a first. Again, look how easy this is. Just pull it through, hold it there, and turn the peg on the back, and it's in place. So simple. Love locking tuners. Now time for my nemesis, the G string. The string just always goes out of tune for me no matter what I'm doing. Every time I pick up the guitar, the G string will be drastically out of tune compared to the other strings. And this is probably because it is the thickest of the unwound strings, but yeah, not a fan of the G string. Just every single time, always out of tune, always out of tune. Let me know if you have this problem as well. Not poking my eye out while changing the strings while also talking to the camera is harder than I thought. But so far so good. The strings are relatively close to my face though, so going to have to try not to do that. That would make it more exciting. That would make the string change video a lot more exciting than it was. The nice thing about these coated strings is that you don't actually have to change them too much. They last way longer than normal strings. With my normal strings, without coating on them, I was changing them like every 2 weeks because they would get rusty. But these don't really rust. I've had these on for quite a while. Sometimes they can even last multiple months. And the only problem I've had with them is that sometimes they will get frayed down by the picking area. So they'll get kind of like fuzzy down here from playing a lot, but it doesn't really affect things that much and doesn't really bother me that much. But when that happens, I usually change them. All right, all the strings are on, and now we just have to tune it up and do some string stretching to get it so it stays in tune. If you don't stretch the strings out a bit, it will go out of tune a lot as you play it. So I prefer to just stretch them up front until they stop going out of tune. So I'm just using my amp to tune it right now. It's pretty easy. If you just plug it in, you can tune on there. So after it's relatively in tune, I'll go through and stretch out the strings to get them to stay in tune long term. Usually this will take a while of stretching them and then checking if they're in tune and then tuning them up and then stretching them again. And I do this until they stay in tune and they don't change when I stretch them. When I'm going through initially stretching it out, they usually drop like a semitone. So if I'm at A, it will be G sharp until I tune up and then stretch it out again and go through this process. All right, we are in tune. And now the last part of the string changing process where we get to cut off the pointy ends of the strings. I never understand the people who leave on these pointy ends of the strings. I know they're a little bit shorter usually, and I guess it's because they want to be able to adjust the strings if anything happens or like part of it breaks or something like that. You can kind of readjust, but it seems like such a safety hazard. So now back to the string clipping tool. I believe this is the Dario one. I'll have it linked in the description as well. And let's just trim these scary ends off of the strings. And onto the floor for now, because we have nowhere to put them. And now we have a freshly string changed guitar, and I love this part where I can just play around on the new fresh strings and get to be reacquainted with the guitar in its new state. Thanks for joining me on this string changing process. I really appreciate you all being here and watching my videos. Speaking of that, this week was actually my 4th year anniversary of playing guitar, and I will have a progress video coming. I'm working on it. I just have a bunch more editing to do and things, so expect it sometime in early February, but it is coming. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.